Well, we promised you the Giro presentation and all the information on the route, but unfortunately, that's now been put back to January. Instead, we've come down to Rouleur Live to meet some legends of the sport. Well, we're at Rouleur Live. It is a wonderful atmosphere, and how lucky are we? Two legends. I mean, there's one odd one out here, isn't there? And I'm afraid I'm sitting over here. Two absolute legends, Greg LeMond, Sean Kelly. Nice to have you back together. Of course, you were back in the peloton, but a few people might forget that we were all colleagues a few years ago as well, weren't we?
I know. I miss those days.
We miss you as well.
No, but I said studio work would be not great, but I loved traveling in France. I said it was the first time I actually got to see France, so it was really great. And the people on Eurosport were awesome to work with, and I was probably too sidetracked at the time with other stuff, but yeah, it was fun. I loved it.
You were very observational always. You're always there watching the replays, looking for things.
I was
things
not that
like
good.
That.
Couldn't. Anyways, it was hard to catch up with all the riders, who they were at the time, and then I wasn't really super comfortable with it. I got a little bit better, but I said to do what Sean does, I don't know if I could handle the 6-7 hours, but you need time to work into it. So it's kind of like, but I did really love it.
You've been watching us though. You've been telling you've been watching us on Max, haven't you?
Yeah, I do.
So you still watch a lot of bike racing?
Yeah, the big races. Kathy watches a lot more than me, but of course I watched stage of the Giro, for certain the Tour de France Giro, as Vuelta, and some of the classics. Yeah.
What's your take on this season then, Mr. Pogačar? Pretty impressive.
Well, not a surprise, because at 21 when you win your first tour, he is. I mentioned before. I hear the critics and the 6.8 watts, and I've actually I've done some calculations from Vingegaard, and I really think that, I know my data and I know what I've done in watts per kilo, and so I figured about racing 5.9 watts per kilo at 68 kilos at a 45% pneumatic rate. Today, when the UCI legalized 50%, which is why people are in Canary Islands, you're going to race at 50%. You're going to have that blood level, which is what people were doing before for EPO. So they go, okay, he beating Pantani. Well, they're doing, EPO altitude, you're getting to 50%. So there's that. And then I do believe the riders today, compared to when we were talking about, just like the riders today, I think our peloton, and it's not percentage of body fat, because you can't get lower than 3 or 4% body fat. But the riders under pressure, they have literally go catabolic, and they've lost muscle mass. And the average riders today, I think we'd be racing 3 or 4 kilos lighter. For every kilo, it's about a minute up a climb.
Wow.
So if you take, I did some calculation, because I watched the Tour Unchained, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Trust me, there's only one person I saw the real physical evidence. I go, that guy's doing something not right. But Vingegaard was really I was doing 380 watts, in the time trial. 380 watts is not super high, because he's my height. Had he been at my weight, his VO2 max would be 83, 81, but he's 58 kilos, 10 kilos lighter than me. That gives him a 96, 97. So he's producing the wattage of what a rider at his talent should be able to do. So it's not like I keep hearing he's doing 450, 470 watts. No, it's the watts per kilo. He's not doing that. And I even did some calculations with Pogačar on Gran Colombier when Rafa Majka, I think it was Rafa Majka who won. Was it Rafa Majka? Kwiatkowski? What? No,
Kwiatkowski.
He released his data at 370 watts. Okay, and then Pogačar and Vingegaard 3 minutes behind, and they caught him. They were racing full out. So I calculated Pogačar probably 410, 420 watts. That's absolutely the realm that I could have done. And so what I'm saying is that it's hard to compare eras, and it's hard to go, because they're beating the EPO period, that they have to be in an EPO. I'm just saying that there's some real logic to that, why riders are going faster today, and it's not new training theories. It's that literally they're under the gun to race. You got to admit, these guys look like adolescents. It's all power to weight ratio. Here is Sean talking to Gribaldi in the 70s and 80s. We were all obsessed with fat. I got a scar here from people pinching me so hard. They're like, oh, how fat are you? Like literally. So that's not new. But what's new in the last 10 years is the change of the body of the riders.
Greg's always fascinated when you get him into that passion that, you are extremely passionate about those numbers.
But Pogačar really is incredible talent. So that's why I'm saying it's like it is amazing what he's doing but you could say this when Eddie Merckx's period, you're talking even the 80s, at the Tour de France level, there's always one or two riders that just a level above, and that's just typical. I think, as dominating he wasn't that much more dominating than Vingegaard. Vingegaard really had a serious setback in April, the crash. So he didn't really dominate him that much for that type of setback. So we'll see. This year will be really good. Now, I want to hear your expert comment. Well, you know more than I do, but I'm just kind of an outsider.
No, I agree on that. And of course, there's all the technology as well, the bikes and all that kit. And right. That's the reason they're able to go at these amazing speeds and able to do this performance. But Pogačar, as I've said, he's able to do it all. And that is the amazing thing. You get an amazing athlete, and he can be great in the Tour of France because whereas dominated is in a lot of the climbs, you have to be able to time trial, but he's able to do it in the classics, and the way he's able to do it in the classics and right away, and there's guys chasing behind there, and they just make no impact, and he's just able to not only on one day, he's able to just repeat it, and for that he's just he's an amazing bike rider.
And he's pretty unique. I mean, you were one of the few people before Pogačar to be able to do that crossover between those kinds of classics and a Grand Tour.
But see, you say that, but not really. Merckx.
But I mean, we're looking back to that era, aren't we?
Right. No.
Ever
Since then, but I
like
said
that.
what I was happy to see was that he finally is a rider that goes back and goes, okay, cycling is not just the Tour de France; it is the classics, which I really admired because if you're a good cyclist, I mean, the Tour to me is geared lately for climbers. There's no doubt.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, and it's changed the climber deal. He's much more of a traditional all-around rider, and an all-around real rider like say Merckx and that they did well in both.
And talking about an all-around rider, okay, the classics, we know how he's able to do that and able to win the classics. But in the Tour, if you talk about Merckx, you talk about Eno. In the climbs, there were guys who struggled to stay with the better climbers. But Pogačar can ride away from the best climbers. He can go down the descents better than anybody else. He can time trial against the big, powerful time trials. He can beat him in time trials. And, when you've got that, well, then you're going to win these big tours. And, he wins them so comfortably.
And he's also got something else, hasn't he? And you know a bit about this. Your book's got the name, Hunger. He's got plenty of that, hasn't he? And that's what sort of sets him apart, isn't it?
No, all riders have hunger.
As much as that, I mean, he's almost cannibalistic.
Hunger with talent. But I read an article about 4 years ago. Somebody said he's going to be, his goal is to be like Eddie Merckx and win everything. And that's been an objective. So
he's ticking boxes, is he?
I think that I think obviously they think he has the talent. So then he's obviously proven himself on the Tour and he's done well in one-day races. And, I don't know. It's just like, I know there's a lot, I think, there's a lot of skeptics out there. And I do wish, can't convince them, but I do believe that you can put everything to rest, honestly, by a simple VO2 max blood test. And I would love that to see that a baseline, almost like 2 times a year you go down and do a test, because it's not, there's no rocket science, there's no secrets. And that's why I said, when I think of Vingegaard's mother said he had a 96 VO2 max, I go, okay, he's my height. If he weighed 68, how many liters? 5.7 liters. That'd give him 81, but he's 10 kilos lighter. That gives him 96, 98. That's why he's doing well, his weight. So there is basic physiology you can't get around. There's no secret, truly. I hear new diets or new carbohydrate drinks come out. Have you ever ran out of glycogen in a tour? There's some new drink by Alan Lim, but how many more calories a week? That doesn't. You don't. I've heard this deal. I could take more calories, and well, if you didn't have enough sugar, glycogen, you can't go a lot. They hit the bonk, right? You run out of glycogen, so it doesn't matter. So I say, everybody's trying to explain the performance, and sometimes it's just as simple as you got a real talent.
Yeah.
And riders aren't created equal. Everybody acts like, well, he's doing faster than Pantani. Well, he might be that much better than Pantani. So,
but that's it. I mean, I know, like I said, you are extremely passionate. You can see it in all the conversation about the numbers, and for that we love talking to you as well. Seeing that passion. But there is ability. There is, like you say, you might just be a better bike rider. There's a lot of different factors that come into it, aren't there?
Well, when you talk about ticking boxes and Pogačar, and I don't agree with Greg, the hunger is in everybody.
No, he has the hunger.
Yeah, he has the hunger.
But is he more hungry than me or you? No, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think he is. I not agree with you there, Greg, that he is hungry. And these small races, which we talk about, like, Tour of Catalonia, he wants to win every stage in that bloody race. When we were there, Greg, we said, forget about this win this stage. We'll just, cruise around today and leave somebody else win.
Right.
But he doesn't leave anything to anybody.
But that's hunger. I guess you could say hunger, but that I can see that. But I think, to me, that discounts the drive of everybody else. And sometimes I've seen kids come from California more dedicated than I am as a pro. They just don't literally are more driven than I am, because there's a balance you have. You can only take, certain people just can only handle so much pressure. I'm agreeing, but I think he enjoys it. And that's a difference where there's almost, let's say it's more of
and did we not enjoy it?
Gluttony. It's more gluttony. Let's say it's gluttony than hunger.
You're not listening.
Maybe hunger and gluttony is the same.
Yeah.
Because, hunger, maybe you're right. He's hungry because he wants to eat a lot.
Yeah. He's got a big appetite.
I always think of hunger as like passion and drive to do it. To me, Vingegaard has that. But what he has is a talent to, like victories, one victory spurns another victory. And so, he gets confidence, but he's literally a level above everybody. So, I remember as a junior, I won races so easily and I loved it. Was that changing my, but literally is that much better. So if you're that much better, it's easy to win. I'm sorry.
And where did you lose the hunger?
He won't lose the hunger. But I'm saying everybody.
The wooden spoons.
You were so hungry in junior, and then you lost that when you came to the pros a little bit.
No, I was hungry still.
Come on, Greg. There was a lot of races where we weren't that hungry. Tour of Pays Basque.
No, because at the time,
I remember in the Tour of Valencia one year, the weather got bad. They stopped the race.
Yeah, and we all agreed to not start.
No, we didn't all agree not to start.
Okay, but Stephen Roche and I did, because it was dangerous.
Oh, here we go.
Dangerous. Literally, it had snow. We're going to finish in the dark. Oh, but it wasn't going to count. So why the hell are we doing that? No, and I sat in the car and I watched Stephen Roche get out on his bike. He agreed to it. And one time you all agree to it, you don't do it. There's a point where you got to...
Well, I had a problem there.
You had it sponsored.
You had to, right?
I knew that.
And
I felt bad for
the
you.
real story is we got horrible weather. The snow came down and we were 40 k's into the race. The road was dangerous, and they decided to stop, and they said, okay, we're going to go to the hotel. Driving along, we did 20k, and then they got this information, we're going to start 30k out, and when we get to the finish, we'll do a lap of 10k at the finish area. So everybody stopped, and Greg came to me. He said, "Don't start, man."
Hold on. That wasn't the point. I would have loved to race. I would have.
I said to my director sportif for Repairs, Faustino Repairs. I said, I don't want to start here. Greg is not starting. I let him. He said, we cannot start here because we have a Spanish sponsor.
You're right. Race. You could not. Now, I guess the point was, it wasn't me. There were a lot of riders that were like concerned, and then it was fun thing to finish actually for a race, but then to start and then just to. Now I understand the pressure of the sponsors. I get it, but
you didn't understand it that day.
But at one point you go, okay, do you put riders at risk? Sometimes you got to do the right thing for riders.
Yeah.
Well, there were risk when the race was called off. There was risk because there was snow on the road, but as we were driving along, the weather got better, and then
they should have started the race right away. We sat there for an hour as it got dark, getting later and later, and at one point...
Oh, you're putting up a great fight here.
I remember the race. I won a race. I actually was feeling good. I think I was... What year was that?
It would have been 86, 87.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's still happening in 24. we saw it at the Giro, didn't we, this year? And this is something that since your era, if these arguments are still going on here in 2024 for the 1980s.
I liked hard weather. I mean, it wasn't, but it was kind of like I loved the classic. I'm not averse to weather. It was nothing to do with that. It was like, first of all, the organizer was really unorganized. It was chaotic, and I'm going, okay,
And still are.
But the riders need to be more organised, I guess. Now, don't they? Doesn't the union have to really sort of?
And everybody had agreed to it except Sean, because he had a sponsor. I get that. I don't. It was just more, okay, you're going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That's fine. Everybody can start, because it was. Then I got penalized by the UCI.
Well, you said to me, I was the only one, but you were the only team that didn't restart.
No, I didn't say you're the only one. I said you're only telling me this. Yeah, because we all agreed. When you agreed to it and you all shake hands, that's what you do. You go, oh, I agreed to it.
I never shook hands.
No, you didn't. No.
See what happens when you get these two together.
Stephen Roche. But anyways, that's the problem. It is an individual sport, so that's why cycling never can union. You can't get a union because everybody has their interest, which is fine. I'm all for it.
Roche didn't want to restart because he's a softie.
That's probably it. But then he got pressure. I get it. I get it. I'm not. But I smile because I've never liked the UCI, and that's why. No, I'm teasing.
It's funny. I mean, again, it doesn't
sound
like.
But I did get punished. I got a fine or something like that. I'm like, good, go ahead. Then it probably was 87.
Yes, I think.
UCI with a fine, never. I've never heard that before.
Then I got shot. Then I was out, so I didn't really care about what the fine was.
Well,
I got out of it.
You mentioned getting shot there. You say it like it's just something that happens every day.
No, I got out of it.
Bouncing back, we were talking about Pogačar before. What about Vingegaard?
Of course you can. It wasn't such a domination over him. Let's just say, considering, unless his injury wasn't serious. According to them, it was serious. So you just need to be slightly off. And I had a hard time believing that he was even going to be the competitive. Did he even race before the Tour?
No.
I mean, you know that. Training is never the same as racing. I mean, there's just another intensity. And literally, if you would add Tour Switzerland something there to bring him up just a little bit, it could have been a different race.
Well, it was amazing, the comeback Vingegaard did.
Yeah.
Considering his accident and, in hospital for X number of days and, coming back into the Tour without any racing. The performance he put up, I was really, really amazed with the performance he did put up. And, now we look forward to next year. Will he be able to challenge Pogačar? I think he will. And Pogačar, he had an exceptional year. Will he be able to repeat that?
Yeah. Well, 12 months ago, we were all saying, can anybody beat Jumbo-Visma? And it's going to be impossible, blah, blah, blah.
Cycling, what's the beauty? What makes cycling even, let's say, our era, but there's always an era, but there was sometimes when one person dominates, but what's so exciting right now is outside of the Tour, Pogačar's dominating, but within the Tour, I mean, he hasn't won every race he started, and that's what makes it exciting. And I don't think they're that far apart. I mean, I think it'll be really exciting if they both come in as healthy. And like you said, you can have a phenomenal year. Doesn't mean it transfers because you have an off season and you get one accident, cold. But it is a good period in cycling.
It's an amazing period to be a cycling fan, isn't it? And
and the riders are much more relaxed. You don't have the security guards and movie stars, and they're opening. They seem like they're all sportsmen. It's not like they're fighting each other, right? I don't know. They seem pretty open.
We've got two fantastic gentlemen, storied in cycling from nations that weren't storied in cycling before, really, you two guys came along. Biniam Girmay, he's inspiring a whole nation, but also a whole continent. I mean, he's going to do wonders for this sport, isn't he?
Well, that's what you need. I mean, honestly, I meet so many people here, I got them into cycling because they watched it, but that's what you imagine what he's doing and inspiration, even Pogačar in Slovenia. I mean, that's what, and sadly, I mean, it's even France hasn't produced a lot of I mean, they haven't had a winner for so long. And that's what I think, if you think Eddie Merckx would have inspired in that period, that's what's going to happen. That's why it's really cool that it's international. You have, I was really happy to see him win. I mean,
I think with Girmay, coming from the African nation, a total non-cycling nation, the people he's going to inspire. And I think to give a little credit to the UCI, of course, what they do in England there to take, the non-cycling nations, take them to Aigle, give them that coaching and bring them to the level where they can get to like a Tour of France.
Or actually, in Eritrea's case, a cycling nation, but without the resources to sort of, because you see the pictures of all the riders. It's wonderful. And you're talking about the World Cycling Centre there, aren't you? And all the different people coming from around the world and living in Switzerland, get the coaching and everything.
But it is really, I mean, if you think about it, and that's like the club system, and you don't realize, like, a European, you just are literally born into the system of support, and you don't, and if you think about it, you know, you get mentored by somebody, and without that kind of base, and that's why it's hard, you know, but it takes one person. Think of the Kenyan runners. I mean, there's a center in Kenya that are just running, and that's what this could do. Is imagine the talent that's in Africa. We haven't tapped into it.
Well, one final thing, one talent who's leaving the peloton, Mark Cavendish, broke the record this year, 35 wins. How did you see that over in the States?
That was really cool. I mean, really unbelievable to beat Eddie Merckx's record. You know, he went through a really difficult period with chronic fatigue and I think some depression, and that's really hard when you've been racing so well. And I'm glad he stuck it out, because that's going to be a hard one to beat. Although, I don't know, Pogačar,
Well, I think he'll be concerned with Pog, the way he's coming up there and winning, you know, all sorts of stages. But yeah, Cav, what a performance! And when he talked about coming back and, you know, after his accident last year, which was going to be his last year, I was saying, you know, it is going to be a difficult one to do it. And we see the sprints that he get involved in, and, you know, like, he is unbelievable in the sprints, the way he's able to ride like an eel there in the peloton and just follow, and got the gap and got his record.
Incredible. Gentlemen, I think we'll carry this on in the pub, because we could talk all day. Thank you very much.
Well, one more thing. Rob, of course, he got the Commentator of the Year award, so we have to make a little presentation. Really? Yes, he only got it 2 nights ago. So we have to.
Awesome. Thank you.
We have to make the presentation.
Wow.
You can hand it over there, Greg.
Wow, what an honour.
Yeah.
What an honour.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Both hand it to him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, man.
Thank you very
Now
much.
you have to take that into your hand.
Thank you. Well, it's very rarely, to be honest, it's never boring chatting to those two, is it? We could have gone on all night, and I think we will be off to the pub in just a minute's time. Before, though, there's one final reminder to check us out on the UCI Track Champions League. Big action starting in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines.
This story is no fairy tale.
She's hard to beat, but it's of course possible.
Katie Archibald does it again!
The hero is always the enemy.
It might just be between me and him.
Crushing dreams is how to reach yours.
I just want to leave it all out there.
This rivalry for this sport is such a positive thing. I'm in it for the fight.
It's a 1v1.
Rivals above all. Every round of the UCI Track Champions League is live on Eurosport and live and on demand on Discovery+.
Well, that's that. Home time it is from Rouleur Live. And after you've joined us in the next 3 weeks at the Track Champions League, we'll be back on the next edition of the Gruppetto to recap and review everything that happens on the boards. We'll see you then.
Hey Rob, I knew all the time that you are the best. So now finally the entire country of Great Britain knows that you are the best commentator in the world. And what's next? Get knighted next year? I can't wait to see that. Rob, you're a legend. I love working with you.
Huge congratulations to Rob winning the Sports Commentator of the Year award. So well deserved. Ever so proud of you. You are the absolute master of this.
Now then, Mr. Rob Hatch, congratulations on becoming Commentator of the Year. I'm so proud of you, it's so well deserved. But we've been saying for years, you were the best commentator. Enjoy this moment.
Ciao Rob from Italy, we are very proud of you, so really congrats. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Rob, congrats. You're a big inspiration and this prize is very well deserved.
Huge congratulations on the award, Rob. You truly deserve it. The best in the business, and I can't wait for more commentary fun with you next year.